What kind of food?
Alrighty. Beef fajitas.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah, I went downstairs and I was like, what can I munch on? Okay.
Oops. Through my pen. Sorry.
You're fine. Okay.
Yes.
Hello and
Oh my God.
you made me snort.
You guys made me eat.
Oh, okay. Hello and welcome to the Book Talk Babes podcast. This episode will contain explicit language and may contain spoilers, so please check the episode description for a list of books that were spoiled. My name is Ashley, and today I am joined by my lovely friends Elaine
Hello.
and Liana.
Hi.
Alrighty. Today's topic is kind of a late mid-year review, mid-year wrap-up.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's August, and people typically do these in July, but the idea
We're not
struck
like other
me.
people.
Right, yeah, we're different. We're not like other girls, okay?
Oh my God.
You set me up.
I know.
So, we will be talking about our favorite books that we have read so far this year, which, based off the conversation that we've had off recording, some of these books are going to be ones that we have mentioned before already on the podcast.
I think we can guess which ones are all the same for us.
Oh, maybe if they're even, I don't know if I have a same one as y'all on here.
We're talking about our Clickanian boys.
I mean, I picked one of the books.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, well, like same in that we all probably picked a Clickanian boy.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I was like,
Yeah.
I don't
Not
think
the
we all
same
picked,
boy.
we definitely did not pick the same boy.
But we definitely have Victoria Aveline in there.
Mhm,
Yes.
mhm. Okay, who would like to start us off?
I just want to say my goal was 52. My Kindle says I've read 44, but I've actually read 46
Okay.
because we did Everlasting, which is a
Oh,
hard
yeah,
Oh, yes.
physical. Mm-hmm.
and then we did Vampires of El Norte, which is also
yep.
when I also bought the physical copy of, and then I
Mhm.
donated. But so I've done 46 of 52 books, which puts me in a really good position because school starts on Monday, and all I'm going to be reading is my textbooks until like mid-December.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I could definitely what is that, like 6 books before the end of the year?
Mhm.
Yeah, totally. I can totally
do
do
that.
that. Yeah. So yay me.
I think I've
Last year I only
done.
got 37. So
I just updated my Goodreads to include a fate inked in blood. So I've read 45 of my one book goal this year.
5?
you over what is that, like 146% or something?
It is according to it's 4,500% of my goal.
Okay.
Woo.
Well then.
Is Elaine busting out the reading
I
journal?
was seeing how much I got. Well, with the fate into
Okay,
blood,
well-
I'm at, according to my reading journal, 55.
Damn.
She always has to show us up.
I know, right?
It's a lot
Well,
of
she does
short-
work at a bookstore,
Yeah.
so she has an unfair advantage.
That is true.
It's a lot of short stuff. I've been reading a lot of short reads stuff.
Those count.
Yeah.
I mean, it still counts. You're still kicking our butt.
My story graph says I'm at 48 books.
Well, that's because you can't like put some of the short ones that you've read from like Patreon, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I feel like it's a bit weird to put the Patreon stuff on there, so because they're like exclusive. So
Have you ever searched it to see if they're on there?
I think I did at one point, but I didn't.
Oh, okay.
It didn't pop up. I'm doing pretty good.
If I ever release the video of like our episodes, you can tell I feel like the ones we record later, because like I just don't give a fuck anymore. I'm just over here eating
We're
while
all
I'm
like kind of brain dead. We're like,
I'm gonna have to like mute my line for half of this beginning because I can't stop putting food in my mouth.
Well, gosh, one of the ones that we did previously when I was eating pretzels, I could hear when I was eating the pretzel.
Oh yeah, I can't. If you're eating while talking, I can't mute your line.
No, I know, but I would take a bite and then chew and then say something, but I could still hear that I was like had a pretzel in my mouth.
Yeah. I try to mute the parts that don't.
Yeah. Look, we get
Stop
hungry.
talking.
Okay, it's nearly 10:30 at night.
Yeah.
I haven't had dinner yet.
Do you need to get a snack?
No, not yet. I'm not hungry yet. Because I had ice cream before this. So. But I will eat real food at some point tonight.
My books are in no particular order. I tried to go through my Goodreads and just pick books that I really, really liked. I have a lot of 5 stars because I just I give those out willy-nilly. But so I get my first one I have mentioned before multiple times, I think, is Wild Wild Wolf by Aimee, Vance, and B. Perkins.
Okay.
So it's like a, I guess paranormal romance. It's got like werewolves and, I say werewolves. Shifters. Sorry. Shifters.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them in
So
this
are they
town.
bound by the full moon or can they just shift whenever?
They can shift whenever, but it is easier during the full moon. And like the more powerful you are, the easier it is that you can shift at a non-full moon time. But but yeah, it's got shifters, it's got demons, it's got angels. There's a vampire angel that the second book is gonna be about, and I can't wait because I think it comes out in October.
That's cool.
And I should be getting an advanced reader copy, so I'm really excited for that one, especially because like the other series that they wrote together, like vampires were never mentioned, and then finally they were, and it was like a big like surprise kind of twist thingy, and now I'm like, ooh, we're gonna get more vampires, I hope. And sure enough, we are. But yeah, so that's my first one.
Okay, so I have mentioned Sick Band to death. And then we all know I like Ozed, so I'm gonna pick another boy here. I think I'm gonna go with the very first book I read this year, which was Choosing Theo, which was one of our first episodes, right?
One of the books I feel like that converted you to a monster lover.
I was concerned because of the pregnancy trope, but
yes,
the it was near the end, which I liked, and then the other ones we've avoided. Well, with the exception of Maladek, we've avoided pregnancy so far, so I've appreciated it.
Yeah.
So yes, Choosing Theo, we know all about it. We have a full episode on him, which I highly recommend you go listen to. It was one of the first ones we did, so I think we sound a bit like not as we do now, but yeah, you guys know why we love Choosing Theo.
Yes.
Victoria Aveline is our Lord and Savior.
Yes, I call her our alien romance queen.
Yes.
Yes. So yeah, self-explanatory. That was, I think, first book I read of the year and my first 5-star review of the year.
Okay. Alrighty, Lane, what you got?
Okay. This one is another one I've mentioned before too. One of my favorites was that time I got drunk and needed a love potion at a werewolf. I feel like I mention this all the time. I just absolutely loved it. It's so funny. It just gives you that cozy fantasy romance. I love how like the main character is also like a monster lover reader as well, so
Yeah.
it's like super funny.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I highly recommend it. It was one of my favorites of this year for sure.
One of my friends was looking for like a freaky book to read, and she like asked me. She was like, "I need some smut. I need some filth. Like, what can I read?" And I was like, "How do you feel about monster romance?" And she straight up says no. I'm like, "What?"
No.
What?
And she's like, she says it's like it makes her think of bestiality.
But they're like, no. I disagree.
And I was like, but that's not that, no.
Yeah, no.
Like, because I was gonna recommend her the orc books that I just read because it would be like so good for her. But there's
Yeah.
butt play in it. She doesn't like butt play either. And I'm like, aren't you supposed to be like some kind of sex freak? Like, what is this? You have like vanilla taste in books. Because she'll share her escapades with me, and I was like, okay, based on your escapades, I think you will really like this. And she's like,
Yeah.
no,
Just give it a try.
but are you sure?
I was like, at the bookstore today, I was standing in front of the monster romance display that there was, and like Morning Glory Milking Farm was there, and there was like 2 other people, and I was telling my friend I was with, I was like, oh, my Morning Glory Milking Farm is so good. And she's just like, I don't know.
But yeah, and I was like, you wanted me to recommend you filth. Like, these are filth. Like,
I'm giving
this is
you
what
filth.
want,
Yeah.
right? And she's like, not like that. I was like, well, then I have nothing for you.
Right.
Sorry, I cannot help you.
Well, so there was one she was intrigued by. It's called The Perfect Fit, and it's like a 1 girl, 3 guys situation. But then there's like butt stuff in it, and I was like, look, if you want to get freaky books, you're gonna have freaky butt stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's inevitable. It's gonna show up. Because I also recommended Priest to her, and I was like, but there's butt stuff in it, and she's like, no. I'm like, oh my god, I don't know what I can do.
I'm trying to think now.
You've tied my hands.
If I know any freaky books that doesn't have butt stuff in it.
Yeah, it's nearly impossible.
None of the books that I would consider like extra spicy don't have that. Like they all have that.
Yeah, all like my 4 or 5 pepper books, like they have butt stuff in
Yeah,
it.
the one that I could think of that's like non-monster that I think is like a bit filthy, there's butt stuff to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, that's just like, okay, prude. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Because, like, we do have like Invoking the Blood, but it's only like it's a slow burn, and it has one really hot sex scene.
Yeah.
Which I know is not what she's looking for. Like, she's not really looking for plot.
I mean, Morning Glory Milking Farm.
Morning Glory.
Yeah,
but it's monster romance.
She won't touch it.
But like minotaurs aren't real. He does get referred to too much though as a cow, I guess.
Like gargoyles aren't real, orcs aren't real, Caucanian men aren't real. Who else? I mean, y'all have Krampus.
The Easter Bunny.
The Easter Bunny.
Easter
Mm-hmm.
Bunny, the leprechaun, the all the ones that are like we would recommend, she would not read. So I don't know what to tell her.
Yeah.
And like I don't know if I would want her to read the Clucanian ones because it has too much romance in it for her.
Mm.
Okay.
Because she's like, ew, I don't want romance. I'm
What
like,
about Ice Planet Barbarians?
Mm.
nope.
No?
No.
The alien.
Hmm.
Because they're
'Cause
blue.
the aliens.
But they're
But they're
not
like
animals.
humanoid.
They're blue.
Yeah, that's I think.
But
They have
it's
a
no, they're
tail.
aliens.
But that's not an animal. There's no bestiality relationship there.
Look, the monsters aren't animals either.
I know.
But I don't know.
She's missing out.
Yeah,
She
seriously.
vexes me.
She doesn't realize what she's missing.
But yeah.
Yeah.
I just like I don't get it. I don't get you. What? Okay. Actually, what's another one of yours?
I was like, I can't even remember now.
Sorry,
what was yours?
We got
Elaine?
distracted.
That time I got drunk and needed a love potion.
That's
in
right.
Werewolf. Oh
That's
yeah,
right.
by Kimberly
Okay.
Lemming.
Lemming. Okay. It was like, I don't remember what you said now. Okay. I'll keep on track with the Clucanian thing. I did put Tempting Ozed on here by Victoria Aveline.
Yay.
Mm.
Our boys.
Well, because I was like, I mean, I guess I could just put Clucanian like series, but I was like, I feel like I
I
gotta
love
pick a
all of them,
specific
though.
book.
Oh yeah.
Overall, as a series, I love all of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember if I've talked about this one. I think I've mentioned it, but I haven't like talked about it. Is Halfling by S.E.
Mhm.
Wendel.
Mm-hmm.
A fantasy It's a fantasy monster romance.
Mhm.
And this was my first I think it was like my first monster romance of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
That you like read on your
male
own,
love interest.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Male
this
love
is
interest
for the
is,
record. This is not something that me and Elaine forced upon
Yeah.
Liana.
No.
She did this
On her
all on her own.
I'm a big girl. But yeah, so the male love interest is half orc, half human. His mom was human, and she was basically a sex slave to the orc king of his village. I know. So, and then she pretty much left him when he was a kid. She just escaped and left him behind. And it was really sad because he's like, Mom, don't go. And I'm like, no, he's a happy boy. But of course, he like grows up and being half human, he's not really accepted by the clan, but he's like, I have nowhere else to go. What am I going to do? But then one night, the rest of the orcs have just come from like a raid or whatever, and they're having a celebration, and he's told to guard the tent of all the stuff in it, and he finds Sorsha, who was a human woman that they had captured, and he actually speaks English because his mom spoke English, and he speaks English and orc. And so seeing that they captured her, he releases her and helps her escape. And of course, she's afraid of him at first and doesn't trust him. But because he didn't want her to become like his mom.
Yeah.
So he sees her as far as the nearest human village where she can like bathe and resupply. And then, she's going to have to like journey back to her home. And he thinks it's the last that he's ever going to see her. And of course, he like falls for her first and love at first sight and everything. And then she's like, hey, you want to come with me? Just to like see me safe to my village. And he's like, yes.
Yes, I do.
So they go on this forced proximity journey. There's a raccoon sidekick who's super cute. they get to know each other, and she's like, why he kind of hot? And he's like, she's never gonna like me.
Aww.
Also, he is a virgin, but he learns very quickly. Like, the first time they have sex, it's a bit awkward because, like, he's like, oh my god, this is amazing. And she was like, yeah, it was, And he's like, what do you mean? I had a fantastic time. And she's like, yeah, I did too, but. And he's like, no, tell me. What do you? And then proceeds to blow her mind. And she's like, yep, that'll do it.
Quick learner and eager to please.
Yes. And several times he I don't know, I want to say he basically becomes like a pleasure dom, and he gets her off like 4 or 5 times before he even dares to like try and get off. And she even tries to be like, let me just get you off, and he's like, no.
No.
Basically she's just like worn out and exhausted, and he's like, I did good. She's like,
yeah, you did good.
So yeah, they go on this cute. It made me think of like Fiona and Shrek. No, but it's a really, really cute and cozy book, and it's not a slow burn. I think they hook up maybe like halfway through the book, and then like every other chapter or so, they're doing something. But it's still like really cute and cozy, and I like how like he's really unsure about approaching her physically because he doesn't want to like upset her or anything. And I think at one point she like basically grabbed his face and she's like, fuck me. He's like, oh, okay. So I liked it. And then it introduced me to S.E. Wendel, and then I read her other duology, Airy and Haven, and then I read her Gargoyle book, and then she's coming out with Ironling at the end of the month, which is a sequel to Halfling. I didn't get to join the episode last week, but she is one of my Insta reads.
Yeah, that's awesome. Especially since me and Elaine outed you as a monster lover.
You know what? I'm not ashamed.
No, I mean, no, you shouldn't.
It was my gateway drug.
But yeah. Yeah, you've been introduced to some new things this year.
It's been a year of learning.
Yeah. Alrighty, Elaine.
Alrighty. So yeah, my Conclanian boy is using Feyho.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yay!
I love using Feyho. Yeah, I think at the beginning of the year, I read the first 5 books of the Cocaine series. I reread
Same.
the first 2 and then just continued on. Yeah, using Feyho is my favorite so far.
Okay. I'm really curious to see how, even though Liana says that Sick Van will never be knocked down from number 1, I am curious to see where Rhaego ends up in our lineups.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited.
I'm interested to see who his female opposite will be. Like, if I guess it'll be another human. Mm-hmm. And then how's that going to work, like, logistically? I
mean, it's worked for everyone else so far.
I know, but his physiology.
Listen, if a 10-pound baby can come out of someone's hoo-ha, an alien dick can fit in there.
He's like 7.5 feet tall, and he's like a demon looking thing. I guess he would kind of look like Maladek. But
Yeah.
he does. You know what? I'm intrigued, and I'm looking forward to it.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
Yes.
Let's see. Okay, my next one will be Bride by Ali Hazelwood.
Didn't see that coming.
Best of both paranormal worlds. Again,
Mhm.
werewolves, vampires, or shifters, vampire, whatever.
I love a good paranormal romance. I do.
I'm obsessed with
Yeah.
paranormal romance. I feel like I've got quite a few on my TBR at the moment.
Yes.
Okay.
Wait, so you want to tell us anything about Bride? What's the plot?
Vampires, werewolves.
That's it.
That's all. That's all you need to know. I'm just kidding. I don't know what all to say without giving certain things away. The main female character is Misery, who's a vampire.
Her name is Misery?
Yes, her name is Misery.
Okay.
The parents don't get to pick their kids' names. The council picks the names of the vampires, and because so she's a twin, and because I think her brother got like a normal name, but her mom died as a result of her birth. So I may be lying about the twin thing, but her mom died because of her, and so the council named her Misery.
Lovely.
Yeah, right. And then she ended up being the collateral with the humans. So basically, in this territory, there's humans, the werewolves, and the vampires, and they're all basically teetering on like just fragile alliances. So like the humans and the vampires have an alliance with each other where at the age of, it's been a while, I can't remember now, I think 8 or something, they exchange a child. So a human child of someone important comes and lives with the vampires, and then a vampire child of someone of importance goes and lives with the humans. And that's how they keep their tensions, under wraps, because if something goes wrong, like the vampires will kill the human and the humans will kill that vampire child. Like,
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's complicated.
She acts out whatever. They end up the humans adopt a girl around the same age as Misery from an orphanage. So she'll have a companion that'll hopefully like calm her down. So you stay as collateral until you're an adult. So she literally like grew up with the humans from like, it's like 6 or 8 to the age of like 18. So she's like, I don't feel at home with the humans because they hate vampires, and I don't feel at home with the vampires because I didn't grow up with them. So she ends up staying with the humans. She like files down her teeth and stuff so they're not pointy. And she gets like night jobs, and she's like a tech person. And she tries to hide basically like as a human. And then she gets roped into basically being collateral again, but with the werewolves, and has to marry the alpha of the werewolves to create an alliance between the werewolves and the vampires. And that's when she goes and lives with them. And of course, they hate her because she's a vampire.
Can't catch a break.
I know. But she has ulterior motives. Her best friend that she grew up with has gone missing. And the name of the werewolf, Alpha, is a name that she had written down, her friend had written down in like a notebook or planner or whatever. So she's like, they have to know something. So she agrees to the marriage so she can try to investigate what happened to her best friend.
Okay.
So, and of course, they catch feelings.
Of course.
Those pesky feelings.
I know, right? Well, you find
Keep getting in
out,
the way.
this is a major spoiler for Bride. You end up finding out that, oh wait, no, you haven't read it yet, Elaine, right?
Mm-mm.
Never mind, I'm not gonna say it. Scratch that. That's all I'll say.
Your must. There was a major spoiler. That's
That
it.
is all I'll say. There was a major spoiler that I was about to say, but I'm not going to. Okay, you go, Liana.
Okay. So, we've talked about Not Another Vampire Book, like we've mentioned it.
Yes.
So good. But I've also read two others by Cassandra Gannon. I've mentioned Seducing the Sheriff of Nottingham, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
At least to us.
Marian
I don't
and-
know if it's been on the podcast.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Seducing the Sheriff of Nottingham is like a Robin Hood retelling,
Mm-hmm.
but Robin Hood is not a good guy. Spoiler. And I mean, that's not really a spoiler. Like, it's kind of like mentioned in the book summary. He's not a good guy. So Maid Marian has been in a fairy tale prison for murdering the sheriff of Nottingham, who is her friend, who was like her childhood friend, who's a gargoyle. I forget his name, but you know me and names. What is... Okay, now I gotta find out his name. I don't remember his name. I want to say John, but that's wrong. Whatever his name.
Robin Hood and Little John running through the forest.
What is... Oh my god, this is... Okay, hold on. I gotta look this up.
I was like,
really
if it's
quickly.
on your Kindle, yeah, look it up.
Nicholas, that's his name.
Nicholas.
Nicholas
Okay.
John, same thing.
His name is Nicholas, but she calls him Nick. And he is a gargoyle, but not in like the traditional sense. Like, I probably read like 5 or 6 gargoyle books this year. And they all do the lore very differently.
Yeah.
Like, these gargoyles don't fly, they don't have wings. They are awake during the day. Some gargoyles are not. They are carved and then brought to life by magic.
Okay.
And because they're not like born,
Conceived.
yeah, because they're not like born, they're not really considered like citizens.
Oh,
So,
interesting.
Yeah, so Nicholas became the sheriff of Nottingham, and he has like this gargoyle brigade who guard the castle, and they're basically like policemen. Also, Nicholas has like an execution problem. He keeps threatening to like hang people.
That could be frowned upon.
Yeah. Well, so the thing is, Nicholas and Marian got married. It was more of like an arranged marriage of convenience rather than a voluntary one. And on their wedding night, Nicholas was murdered, and they thought Marian did it. So she's been in fairy tale prison for like 10 years.
Jesus.
And she gets the opportunity. Yeah. Excuse me. And she gets the opportunity to go back in time and fix all of it.
Oh.
So they have like a week to find out who the killer is, and she's trying to save him. And then she's also like been in love with him for like those past 10 years. And so when she pops back up, she's like obsessed with him, and he thinks it's really weird because like she's never acted like that before. And he's like, this isn't real. And she's like, it is. And she calls him like really funny nicknames like sugar balls and and it's It's really strange. So, and then she's like planning her vengeance on Nottingham because, they locked her up and accused her of murder. It's really good. Highly recommend. And then I read another one by Cassandra Gannon called Ghost Walk. This is what we thought Everlasting was going to be. Because there is a Scottish ghost.
Okay.
And he is a pirate.
Now, all you have to say is he's also some sort of monster, and that like hits all three of our boxes.
He's not a monster, but he's a ghost.
Okay, that can kind of count.
So this is like a supernatural, like time traveling situation, because like in the Sheriff of Nottingham, this man is also murdered, but he's framed for a murder, and it switches between present day and like back then.
Okay.
So the main character, Grace, she was a crime scene investigator, but her family has like this magical abilities to like communicate with the dead and see the dead and whatever. So she like has a mental breakdown during one of her crime scenes because she touches the blood of the person that died, and then she's like transported back to the moment that they were murdered.
Oh, wow.
Good Lord.
And then she like transports back to present day, and so she has like a mental breakdown because that's never happened to her before.
Yeah, I'd need some therapy.
And she's been trying really hard up to this point to like not be involved in her family's magical abilities. And so she becomes like a tour guide for like historical, like it makes me think of like Colonial Williamsburg, but it's in like I think Virginia or North Carolina or something like that.
Okay.
Because his name is Captain James, and he's been haunting this historic village since he died. And
is his last name Hook?
No, it's Jordan. Because he's Scottish.
I had to. Captain James Hook.
I know. I thought that's what it would be too.
Is her name Tinkerbell?
Her name is Grace Rivera.
Okay.
So yay, Latina. Yeah. But she's giving like a really bad tour of this historical village, and like he's like heckling her this whole time, and she like turns to him and she's like, "Shut up!"
Oh no!
And he's like, "You can see me." So she's helping him. So she has another mental breakdown because she's like, "You're not real,"
of course,
and he's like, "I am," and because no one's been able to see him in like the 300 years since he died, and so he's like, "This has to mean something."
Yeah.
So once he convinces her to like chill out, they they work to clear his name.
Okay.
And you know how we thought in Everlasting there'd be some like ghost touching?
Oh yeah.
Oh, it happens here. Because she's like, "How are we gonna do this if you're like non-corporal?" And he's like, "Oh, I have ways.
I have my ways."
And I was like, "Oh." So yeah, no, it's good. And like she travels back in time and meets him when he was alive, and whatever she does to him when she time travels back, when she comes back to the present day, he remembers what she did, and he's like, "You naughty girl." He's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." And he's like, "Oh, I do."
That's funny.
And she's like, "You remember that?" And he's like, "Yeah.
Yeah.
He goes, "Oops."
That's funny.
So, yes, Cassandra Gannon is becoming one of my favorite authors this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Not Another
Yes.
Vampire book's pretty good. I like that one.
It's so
Yeah.
good. It's so good.
I'm like 63%,
Woo!
and I'm really enjoying it.
Yay!
I'm excited to finish it. I'll do another. Well, I read 2 Lillian Lark books. The last 2 months. They're very short reads. They're like 100 and 115 pages. I read Ensnared by the Werewolf first. And it's about like a witch who loves to break curses and a werewolf who is cursed. And he's tried multiple people to try to break his curse. And he goes to her for help, and she's like, "Oh, great, like I love breaking curses, I'll do this for you." But like she can never see him because he's like, I guess like his curse is that like he's caught in between of shifting between a werewolf and his like human form. So he's like,
Oh, that sounds horrible.
I look horrible looking. Like I don't want you to see me. So she's like, okay, I guess we can do this in the dark. Break your curse. But yeah, it's really short, and I think like he ends up being like, I think there's like a fated mates parts to it, and there's like chasing in the woods. it's very cute little short read. There's
which we also like.
There's nodding.
Oh
yeah.
What was the name of this again?
Ensnared by the Werewolf.
Ashley's like, I'm starting that tonight.
Writing that down now.
And then the next one I read was Found by the Lake Monster. So like the like beginning part of Ensnared by the Werewolf, I can't remember if it's the beginning or it's somewhere in there. She's like heading over to, I think she's the witch that's mentioned in the Found by the Lake Monster. Because the lake monster is in heat, and he's
of course,
and he does a matchmaking agency to try to get someone to come help him get through his heat. And I think the witch was supposed to be the one because he's waiting for a witch. But then there's like a human that is another monster romance lover. So she's like, but her job is boring. She's just like an accountant or something. So she's like wanting to go on a venture. So they're like, she joins this like human group where they're just gonna go look for like the lake monster. But for some reason they separate, and so she's like lost, and she ends up in his like territory, and he's like, "Oh, so you must be the witch," and she's like, "Sure."
Oh, no.
She's just like, "Why not?" My monster romance like books are
Let's
coming.
Go with it.
Or yeah, she's
right,
like,
yeah.
I might not get another chance.
Elaine, is this a memoir of yours?
Right?
I know.
Did you write them?
Right. I wish
that you wrote. You can admit it.
Okay. It's interesting. It's great. It's really cute. But yeah, Lillian Lark. I'm excited to read her other stuff. These were just like little shorts, I think, in between whatever series that is. I can't remember the series. So I'm excited to read the like ones that are longer.
That sounds good. Mm-hmm. Okay, I talked about this one for sure last episode, which is The Tainted Cup by Robert Jackson Bennett. And it is a like fantasy murder mystery kind of situation.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very
you sound unsure.
Sherlock Holmes and Watson feels. There's a detective, the sidekick. there's giant monsters just that come to try to attack the area that they live in. I'm trying not to give like everything away and repeat exactly what I said last time. So, if you want a fantasy murder mystery, check this out. It's like the first of 3 books, I think. I looked it up last time. Now I can't remember.
Okay, so my next one is Howl for the Gargoyle by Kathryn Moon. This is the sequel to Games with the Orc. The
Okay.
one that I mentioned that's super filthy and that you all need to read so we can talk about it. So this series is called Monster Smash Agency. Basically, there's an agency of monster sex workers.
Okay.
And of various types, half human, humanoid, orc, gargoyle, werewolf, vampire, demon, whatever. Like whatever you can think of, they're there.
Okay.
Succubus, like whatever you can think of. And it's supposed to be like contemporary Chicago, and it's and humans live alongside monsters, and it's just normal.
Okay.
But they have this monster smash agency because we have humans who want to explore some fantasies, and then we have monsters who request other monsters because they also have monster needs. So that's what they're there for. Our gargoyle is part of this agency. His name is Rafe, and he is requested by the more aggressive clients because he's a gargoyle, so he's pretty sturdy. So he can take a lot of he can take a lot of hits, but he's getting kind of tired of it.
Understandable.
He's like, I don't think I like this anymore. And he's starting to lose his clients, and then he gets a client named Hannah. And Hannah got changed into a werewolf, and so she's struggling with these changes. And part of the werewolf lore is that you get really horny around the full moon.
Okay.
So super horny. And she's actually part of a band. She's the lead singer, and she's been struggling with maintaining this relationship with her band since she turned into a werewolf. And so she finds out about this monster smash agency and requests Rafe, because he's a gargoyle, because she's afraid of, she tries to hook up with humans, but she has superhuman strength now, so they can't really handle her. So she has superhuman strength outside of the full moon. So she requests Rafe the gargoyle because she knows that she can't hurt him. It turns into, this one is, it's not a slow burn in the sense that it takes a while for them to get to the sex, because that's why she's hiring him to have sex. It's a slow burn, like emotionally.
Okay.
Because she's dealing with some PTSD. He's dealing with some like existential crisis, because he's like, I'm kind of tired of being beat up all the time.
Yeah.
And he's like, I gotta, there has to be something more for me out there. And he cooks for her because she's a vegetarian werewolf. And so he cooks for her, and he really enjoys cooking. So he's thinking about becoming a chef.
Okay.
He has a mothman friend who owns a bar, and his Mothman friend is like, come work for me. So, and I think we're gonna get the Mothman friend next.
Nice.
Because first we did the orc, who was friends with the Gargoyle because
Mhm.
they were both at the same agency, and then they're both friends with the Mothman.
Okay. Makes sense then.
Yeah.
And yeah, like it's it's there's a lot of sex for sure, but it's more playful than like just straight up filth like the orc one. And there's a big arc where the orc one was just like fuck, 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 fuck. There's more of a story arc with her dealing with her PTSD from being turned into a werewolf, and then like learning to accept herself as she is now, and then learning to accept the gargoyle, and then the gargoyle's like trying to figure out his path in life, and so it's actually like really cute. And there is a butt scene. But like it's really playful. And so you're kind of like into it.
Okay.
But yeah, I recommend it. And he is a gargoyle that can fly, and he is more gargoyle looking. Well, once again, he was not born; he was made, which I think is just a running theme among these gargoyle books.
Okay.
And he does a thing where he can like turn himself to stone instead of being stone. It's like he's pretty durable just like as he is, but then he can like turn himself to stone as needed.
Okay.
So, which is also like comes up during their romps, and it's like, oh, interesting.
Alrighty then.
But like one of the funny things about him being a gargoyle is like, they his friends make fun of him because he's basically like a trash can. And he's like, I'm a gargoyle. I have like a strong stomach.
Yeah.
And, yeah, the gargoyles do everything like slowly because they're like, where's the rush? Because they're made of stone. And they're
Yeah.
like, yeah. So there's just some like funny gargoyle quirks in this book. And yeah. So it ends up being really cute and cozy.
Cute, cozy monster fantasy romance.
Between a werewolf and a gargoyle.
My next one, it was a reread this year, but I still really, really liked it. It's Initiation Sex Wizards #1 by Alethea Faust, I believe. Book 4 is about to come out, so
Yay.
I was like, I want to reread book 1 and then continue the series. It's like a very interesting magic system. Of course, in order to create these spells, they have to have sex, but there's like a somewhat cute romance happening. There's a very good like found family aspect to it. This was the one I thought like, oh well, they're wizards, but then I remembered there's a scene where they perform a spell with I think he's an orc. With an orc.
Oh.
So there is a monster in it.
Okay. Okay.
And I forgot they have like another creature. I can't remember what creature she is. Or they are, because they're kind of, I think they're like I think they have both parts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. I'm seeing a theme here with all our books.
Yeah. I know. But it's another one where like I guess you can say it's a bit filthy because it's just like it's like a guy who goes to a magic school because he got a like recommendation letter kind of thing. And he hurt himself, so he can't be a hunter anymore. So it's like, okay, I guess I'll go to this magic school. and he doesn't know what he wants. Like, he's never been surrounded by magic or anything, but for some reason he got this thing, this like recommendation letter from this girl who was part of the school. And so he's like, I guess I have magic. She says I did. So, um, and so he's like, well, the girl that like he first meets, she's like, well, I guess, like we can give you, maybe just try out the different schools and see what happens. Um, of course, the first thing they do is an aptitude test to see if he even has magic. So she's like, we're going to perform a spell. um, and then he's like, okay. And then he's like, meets another guy, and which is like the girl's friend. And then he's like, well, let me show you this type of school magic. And then she's like, well, let me help you here. And then why don't you try this
Sex
one? And
magic.
so he's like, it's like, yeah, it's just like one scene, one spell after the other, kind of.
That's
And
awesome.
there is like butt play with like, and there's different like BDSM stuff, but it's like, even though
Okay.
it's not really my thing, I feel like because it has to do with the spell, it's very interesting. Like, at one point he's like, can I see how the spell works?
Yeah.
After they do the spell, and he's like, yeah, sure, let's go. And he ignites the spell, and it like is like a defense one where he like blasts off, and he goes, interesting, like I thought about adding breath play, and I didn't really think it was going to knock the wind out of me. And I was like,
That's
oh,
clever.
I
That's
love
cute.
that. That's really cute. So it's
Yeah.
like, it's very interesting. It's very like, there's a lot of consent. They're like, no means no. Like, it's very important in our school,
Yeah.
They do meet bad guys. There's a sort of like a plot to it. And they're like people who don't listen to no, and they're like, they're bad wizards because they don't follow the rules. Yeah.
Boo.
Boo.
Yeah. Don't like the naughty wizards.
Yeah. It's very good. I really love it. I'm excited to read the rest of the book. There's the series.
Also, butt stuff seems to be a theme.
Yeah, butt stuff.
Books too.
I was about to say, I'm like, to keep with that theme, my next one is Leather and Lark by Brynne Weaver. There is butt stuff. I think in the epilogue. You have been warned.
Yay!
But yeah, Leather and Lark is the sequel to Butcher and Blackbird, which, even though I did read that this year, I figured I've talked about it enough. So I picked Leather and Lark this time. And yeah, it's more serial unalivers, killers falling in love. Well, I guess technically Leather isn't a serial killer. He is a contract killer, a hitman, if you will. For
So is it
the
two
man.
different characters from the first one?
Yes. Yeah. So it is. So the first book, Butcher and Blackbird, is Rowan and Sloane. And this book is Rowan's brother, Lachlan, and Sloane's best friend, Lark.
Mm-hmm.
And so he is a contract killer, and she's technically a serial killer, but like no one knows that she is like killing people. Like Sloane, people that are close to Sloane know that what she does or whatever. Like Lark knows what Sloane does, but Sloane doesn't know what Lark does. Sloane kind of has an idea and kind of hints at, like, if you were doing these things, like, I'd be super proud of you or whatever. Something we can talk about if you want, but doesn't really push her on it and stuff. But yeah. Basically, the idea of this one, so like the Butcher and Blackbird, one of the people that gets killed in that book's brother is coming for revenge on Rowan and Sloane and targets Lachlan and Lark. And so it ends up them. Lark's family also runs kind of like it's like a mafia style, but they're like bakers. So like her like there's some shady business dealings. Like they're business people. Like they own like this
like leave the gun, take the cannoli kind of thing.
like I think it's her aunt. It's either her aunt or her great aunt like started this baking business, and it like blew up and became this like, basically like this empire. And she's like, they've got competitors and they've done, shady things to either get rid of competitors or deal with other problems and stuff like that. So it's like very mafia, but like business. It's funny. And someone's targeting like all the people that are close to like Lark's family, and that kind of it ends up being a like not necessarily marriage of convenience, but like marriage of like protection, because her family thinks that it is Lachlan possibly. And so she's like, okay, her aunt gives her the idea like your parents think that, marriage is very sacred or whatever. And she's like, I don't get what you're saying, aunt. And she's like, her aunt's like, fucking marry Lachlan so your parents won't like kill him. So you can, and then you can, work to figure out who really is, taking out the family members and the colleagues and whatever. So they get married out of necessity to survive.
Oh darn.
Yeah. But yeah.
What a bird.
Absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. It is not though for the faint of heart. There was part where I was even like, oh, I can't.
like graphic violence wise, or
like they need to get into this guy's safe who is dead, and it is fingerprint and retina scanner. So they chop off off some fingers and pull out some eyeballs.
Toting around some dead body parts kind of thing.
Yeah. But it's more the removing of those body parts that I was just like, oh, stop. I can't.
Yeah, we don't need to know those details.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's considered a dark romance. It does have darker themes that do get discussed or touch upon. So there's torture, things like that. But I absolutely love it for some reason.
I get it. Okay. My last one.
Okay, cool. I was like, I only wrote down one more. I can find more, but
yeah, this is my last one. I think all of them have been like monster romances.
I told you, we made you into a monster romance lover this year.
Yeah. Monster or paranormal. I've always liked paranormal.
Yeah, yeah.
But like I'm branching out beyond the werewolf.
Yeah, you're branching out beyond the humanoid aspect of what paranormal can be.
This is called A Werewolf's Guide to Seducing a Vampire. By Sarah Hawley. It just came out, I think a couple days ago.
Okay.
It's part of a series called Glimmer Falls. The first 2 books are A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon, and then A Demon's Guide to Wooing a Witch.
Yeah. I've seen that.
And this is, and then this is A Werewolf's Guide to Seducing a Vampire. So it was a 3rd book. I haven't read the first 2, but they like do some what's it called, exposition, so that you kind of get what's going on.
Okay.
From the first 2. So there's a werewolf named Ben and a vampire named Eleanor, and Ben is like he's a werewolf, so he's hot. But he wears like sweater vests, and he knits. And he owns a plant. And he he owns a plant store.
Okay.
And he wears glasses. And he has like an anxiety disorder. And he doesn't really like turning into a werewolf. Because he feels... Well, he does... Okay, it's not like... He likes the full moon. He likes turning into a werewolf, but he feels really guilty when he has to hunt like bunnies.
I mean, I would too.
Then he feels bad that he ate the bunnies. So, yeah, like super dorky, adorable, awkward, hot nerd guy.
Okay.
He drunk buys a crystal on eBay, and the crystal... And also he's like 38. So people are like, when are you gonna find someone? And he's like, I don't know, maybe never.
Right? Leave me alone.
The crystal is possessed with the vampire Eleanor.
Okay.
She's a succubus.
Okay.
And she was cursed to be put into this crystal by a witch, and whoever possesses the crystal controls her as the vampire.
Okay.
And this is a total accident. So he's like, what the fuck? and then she's pissed, of course.
Yeah.
Because she's been in and out of this cursed crystal for like 600 years. And
good Lord.
Yeah. And so she hates him at first. She totally loathes him, and he's terrified of her. But she's a half vampire, so she can eat human food.
Okay.
And then she also drinks blood. And then because she's a succubus, she also feeds off sexual energy.
Okay.
So, and the spell of this crystal is that she can't harm the person who possesses it. So even though she wants to kill him, she can't.
Okay.
And she really, really likes to talk about disemboweling and beheading people. And he's like, do you always have to use those metaphors? And she's like,
yes.
What are you talking about?
Yes, I do.
He's like, it's just, it's scary. And so, it's like forced proximity. I would say opposites attract, not enemies to lovers, just opposites attract. They're trying to break a curse.
He sounds like a cinnamon roll.
Yeah.
There's some subplot going on in their weird little supernatural town. There's like pixies and demons and other werewolves and other things and vampires, and so it's really funny to just like watch her become acclimated to current day stuff, and then watch him try to not have a panic attack because he's like, oh my god, there's like a vampire succubus in my house. What do I do? He's like, and she's scary. She has all these knives. She has all these knives like everywhere, like hidden on her person, and he's just like trying not to get knifed. And she can crawl on the ceiling, and she does it a couple times.
Oh my goodness.
Completely freaks him out.
Yeah, that would freak me out.
Right.
And he's like, please don't do that when I'm sleeping. And she's like,
gosh.
do it.
Oh gosh.
That's even worse.
But,
if I woke up and I saw somebody on the ceiling,
yeah,
all bets are off.
Right.
I'm burning my house.
She, whenever she wasn't doing the bidding of the whoever had the crystal, the witch would summon her and and she would do the witch's bidding.
Oh, okay.
Mostly murdering whoever the witch did not like. So she has a lot of PTSD with that, and then he has an anxiety disorder. So the book is also them coming to terms with their issues and then overcoming them. And she, because she's a succubus and she's like really trying to fuck him. And he's like, no. Well, it's because the issue is like, you know, he's her master, and even though they do acknowledge there is an attraction, he doesn't feel like it would be appropriate to have sex with her while she's still cursed. Even though she's like, come on, and he's like, no, it's just not right. And she's like, oh, fuck, a man who respects me. This is such a turn on. And because of her PTSD, she thinks his like good guy persona is fake, not realizing that like that's how he actually is. And because of his anxiety and wanting to like maintain his control, her popping up in his life like fucks with all of that. So he's just trying to like handle her and then handle some other plot things that are going on in his life. But it's cute because like they'll watch Star Trek together. That's like her favorite show. And he'll make hot chocolate and he'll make her like hot blood. And he puts like marshmallows in her cup of hot blood. Because he makes some hot chocolate and he puts marshmallows in it, and she's like, what are those? And he's like, marshmallows. And she's like, what are marshmallows? And then of course he like gives them to her, and she's like, oh my god, these are incredible. And so he's like, try it in your drink. And the way that they describe it makes me kind of like gag. Like a Pepto-Bismol color. Yeah. And then she drinks it with the marshmallows, and she's like, that is delightful.
Aww.
So whenever they have to unwind at the end of the day, he'll make hot chocolate and he'll make her hot blood and he'll put marshmallows in it.
Okay, that's disgusting cute. But adorable.
Yeah. It's so cute.
That is so cute.
It is so cute. And she scares him a lot unintentionally because she's a vampire, so she can like zoom around really quickly. But she'll just like pop up and he's like, stop doing that.
Right, that is not good for anxiety.
He's like, you have to stop doing that.
You just put a little bell on her.
She'll just like pop up behind, like he'll be like reading something and she'll like pop up behind him and she's like, what are you doing? And he's like, ah!
Yeah, no.
But he's supposed to be like really hot, like really tall, really strong. He has a beard and he looks like she always mentions like how his clothes, he knits his own sweaters and sweater vests because normal clothes don't fit him. Yes, so he has to like knit his own clothes.
That's so cute.
And she's like, oh, he looks good. And so like people like shit on him for his sweater vest, and she's like, I want him to wear this sweater vest and nothing else. But I highly recommend. It is so cute.
That's
it's
cute.
Really cute and cozy, and just like the dynamic between the two is so funny.
Yeah, that sounds cute.
What's it called again?
Oh, A Werewolf's Guide to Seducing a Vampire. And I like the cover because it shows what they look like. And he's like this cute little nerd guy in like an argyle sweater vest holding a plant.
Oh, that's cute.
Okay.
But yeah, I just love like from the moment he meets her, he's terrified of her, even though she can't hurt him.
It's added to my TBR.
Yes, read it. It's so cute.
Well, I do have another one that I read for the library book club. Um, it's not like a smutty like monster romance, but there are like witches and vampires in it,
Okay.
fairies, and a ghost. It's called The Undetectables by Courtney Smyth.
Okay.
It's like a murder mystery fantasy, and it's about like a detective agency run by like three best friends who are witches, and one of them is really into like forensic science and stuff, and so she's like, let's start this like detective agency.
Okay.
And then there's like on like Halloween there's this like grand party, and they're there, and then there's like a murder happens and they come across the body with the ghost.
Okay. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, and so that's gonna be, they're like, okay, this is gonna be our first like case, we're gonna try to solve this.
mhm.
And they're like teenagers at this point, and then like I
Oh
think
my god.
like 6 years pass, and they're like now in like college age, but the girl who was like the one that like, I'm gonna go forensic science, ends up getting diagnosed with fibromyalgia.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
so because of that, she's in a lot of pain, so she doesn't go to
Yeah.
school, but her two best friends go out and do school. um but like she continues to try to like solve the ghost's murder, and
Oh.
they end up becoming like best friends. And he dies is because it's like Halloween, he dies in
Yeah.
a cat costume and he can't get rid of it. So like he tries to get rid of, he has like ears and like whiskers, and he tries to like throw
Aw.
the ears away, and then like they just reappear back, and he's just like, damn it.
Oh
it's it's really cute. But yeah, so their first murder mystery wasn't solved, but then like murders begin to happen again. um her two best friends come back in town, and they get hired by like, I want to say he's like the mayor, like I think he's called the night mayor,
Okay.
to try
no.
to help them solve these murders that are happening. So they're back. Their agency is back, and with their ghost
That's
friend.
awesome.
Yeah, I love the. I think I wrote a quote on my book journal.
Oh, from that book?
Yeah, because like
Yeah.
the ghost guy comes out. His name is Theodore, and he's like,
Oh.
I'm here, I'm queer, and I'm ready to solve a murder. It's so
Love
cute.
it.
I love it. It was really good. I think it kept me kind of like in suspense,
Yeah.
because I had like two potential people. I was like, it has to be between these two people, but I couldn't decide like who it
Which one?
was. Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
but it did end up being one of them, so at least there's that.
Hey, yeah.
But yeah. And then I found out that there's a second book because it ends, and you're just like, wait, like, and then I'm happy there's a second book coming
Mm.
out.
Okay, cool.
I think later this year, so I'm excited to read the second book.
Nice.
Makes me think of that show, Ghosts.
Oh.
There's a guy who has an arrow through his neck.
Oh, I've
I think I know what
seen.
you. I think I
Yeah.
remember.
Yes. But like he can take it out, but it just like reappears.
Yeah.
That would be so embarrassing. Oh my god, what if I died in something
Well,
ridiculous?
see, and like that's like I have
Ugh.
irrational thoughts of like, like a home invader and shit like that. It's not completely irrational. Like
Yeah.
it happens. But I'm just like when like people are like, yeah, I sleep in the nude. And I'm like, what if someone breaks into your house?
Yeah.
I mean, granted, if I broke into
Or-
someone's house and a naked person just came running at me, yeah, I'm getting out of there. But I'm just like, I could, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, like, so I think about what I wear to bed because,
Yeah.
like, what if I get abducted
That
by
too.
aliens
Oh, yeah.
and I don't have pants on?
Yep. It's gonna suck.
Like, that would be embarrassing.
All right, this will be my last one.
Okay.
Alias Emma by Ava Glass. I just read this recently, but it's very action packed. Female British spy, and it's got a lot of like British spy stuff and Russian spy stuff. I don't know if I assume going forward with the other books, because I think there's other books in this series. I don't know if they'll all be about like Russian spies also, but she's technically Russian. Like both her parents are Russian, but she was born in the UK. So she's a, citizen of the UK, and she ends up going down a career path that ends her up being part of like not MI like 5 or 6 or whatever it is, but like kind of like a secret organization of spies for the British government. But yeah, it is action packed the whole time. It's kind of suspenseful because like I feel like I think I said this on Instagram, like bad shit happens to the two main characters of this particular book. So like every time something like popped up or didn't go their way, I was like, fuck, like this could go bad. Like I at one point I thought one of them was probably gonna die before the end of the book because I was like, nobody's safe. Like it's yeah, it was very interesting. I really liked it. She's tasked with basically like a bunch of Russian citizens that are, they helped spy on the Russian government during different points in time or whatever. And they were brought over to the UK to, flee basically Russia. And some of them are starting to be killed off. So her boss is like, okay, like we have this family that we need to like bring in. We've got, the mom and dad, but their son, who's about your age, like is refusing to come in for, to be safe or whatever. So we need you to convince them, and we need you to bring them in so we can relocate them all and they can be protected. And of course she finds him, she runs into him, she tells him like, hey, like you need to do this, and he's just like, no, I'm not going to do this. And she's just like, okay, well, there are 2 Russians like following you along while you're running in this park right now, so keep that in mind. And she like kind of follows him and like to keep an eye on him to try to convince him again, like, hey, you're in real danger, you need to like listen to me. And they go on this wild adventure being chased by Russian spies through London. It like all takes place like within like a 24-hour time period. Like it's intense, and it's crazy. Maybe 48 hours, but it is not long. Like the majority of the book is like one evening of just fucking crazy shit happening to them. So if you want a action-packed female British spy book, I highly recommend this one. You said you don't have any more, Liana, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Elaine, do you have any more?
I'm all monstered out.
No, just maybe an honorable mention of Morning Glory Milking Farm.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
I thought about that too.
I absolutely love that one.
Yay. It was so good. And a Blue Ribbon Romance.
Yes, and a Blue Ribbon Romance. They definitely one of my faves this year so far.
Yes, it was good.
I absolutely love them.
Ugh, so cute. Absolutely filthy, but adorable.
Yes.
That's all we want in life.
Right?
Filthy but
Filthy and
adorable.
adorable.
Yes.
That's all I need.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, as always, thank you, listener, for joining us. Please rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. Follow us on our socials. We are Book Talk Babes Pod on Instagram and TikTok, and Book Talk Babes on Goodreads and Storygraph. Please email us topics, questions, and book recommendations to booktalkbabespod@gmail.com, or you can DM us on our socials. Everything is listed in the description. Have a lovely day and week. Until next time. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, and it's talk TALK,
Yes.
not
yeah,
TOK.
not T-O-K.
So maybe that's why we've been missing people.
Maybe.
Bye.
Bye.